Hello, welcome to another episode of the Horror Vision Horror Podcast. I'm Shawn.
I'm Ray.
No fancy
And
names tonight. If you don't mind, I really want to start because I've seen. So I'm gonna we'll round robin, but I just want to say the first three movies I'm going to talk about. I am right now saying these three movies will be in my top 5 of the year. That's my prediction. So I'm gonna start with the one I think may end up. It's like there's one that is more serious and I feel like had more gravity, and so that felt like it would definitely be the one. But I watched Vicious Fun the other night on Shudder, and holy goddamn, dude, just for being like, I wanted to stand up and fucking applaud. I wanted to hoot and holler. I wanted to go out and urinate on a neighbor's lawn. And I mean, it just really revved me up, dude. It's so good. This is directed by Cody Callahan. I was unaware of this, so I mistakenly thought that this was a debut and a directorial debut. It's not. He also did Antisocial 1 and 2, which I haven't seen. Let Her Out, which has been on my queue in something forever. And a movie that just also came out in this year that is available to rent on Prime for $1.99 or to buy for $6.99. I am going to buy it I'm going to buy it sight unseen. It's called The Oak Room. And so the MVP of Vicious Fun, Ari Millen, who some people would know as the male clone from Orphan Black. He plays all, the same way that there's the female clone and all of, the variations, all played by the same actress. There's also a male clone later on. And so this is the actor that played all of those. And he's a very good actor. He just knocks it out of the fucking park in Vicious Fun. He's so great. But he's also in this Oak Room, but also in the Oak Room, and I haven't watched it yet, but RJ Mitty, who is Walt Jr. from Breaking Bad. So I was like, dude, this looks great. And I don't really know much about it. It centers around a bar, and I love stories that revolve around bars because I was a bartender for 5 years and I loved it. Just looks really good. So just a shout out to that. But Vicious Fun, it just dropped. It's like earlier mid 80s, and just the basic setup is this kid he's worried that his roommate, who he's secretly in love with, is dating a scumbag. And so he follows this guy to this like Chinese restaurant. He like tries to play off like he's some cool guy. He gets hammered, like trying to like pick this guy's brain. And he passes out in the back room, wakes up, and there's people sitting in a circle, and the restaurant's closed, doors are locked, and they have like, it's apparently that it's a support group. And so they go, they're like, oh, you're Phil. And he's like, oh yeah. Come on, sit down, share. And it turns out that they are a serial killer support group. So the lead, Joel, that's Evan Marsh. Totally unfamiliar with him. He was in Shazam, something called Working Moms. That's it. And the person people will know is David Kochner, who's in like Anchorman, and Krampus is the brother-in-law. But this movie is so much fun, and I'm telling you, Ari Millen, he's the boyfriend. He's the roommate's boyfriend, and he's like a combination of. If you've ever seen Moonbeam City, the animated thing with Rob Lowe, my girlfriend loves that. He's a combination of Rad, the cop that's kind of like a tool, like cool guy or whatever, and Patrick Bateman. That's the best way to describe him. He's just oh my god, his performance is so fucking outstanding. I'm saying right now this is gonna be my favorite performance of the year. There's no way it's not gonna be. So I cannot stress enough to everybody listening. Vicious Fun is so much goddamn fun. Just do yourself a favor, open a beer, watch it, and just get ready to just have a good time. So there you go. So that's my first entry into my holy three halfway into 2021. So Ray, what do you got?
I saw this movie. I was cruising around on Prime, and it just popped up, and I was like, I haven't heard of that. And I watched a trailer for it, and it looked like something from the 70s, but it's not. It was made in 2018. It's called Abracadabra.
Oh, you
Um,
mentioned this to me in a text. I looked at it and I also thought of it. I looked at it, I'm
yeah.
like, is this from the 70s?
Well, apparently it's by the Onetti brothers, if I'm saying that correctly, Luciano and Nicholas. And they're two Italian directors. And they made a series. They made three films that are called the Giallo trilogy. That
Oh,
are all supposed
really?
to be made. So that I didn't get a chance to watch the other ones yet, but they're all supposed to be made so that they have the style and the look and even the set in the period of the 70s. And there are these giallos, and one's called Absurd, another one's called Francesca, and then there's this one Abracadabra. And I liked it. What was interesting to me is that they nailed so much about the genre, except they actually shortened the runtime, which I found kind of nice because giallos tend to be like an hour and a half on
Yeah,
the bare
sometimes they
minimum.
overstay their welcome a little bit. Yeah.
Sometimes 2 hours or longer. And this one is about an hour and 9 minutes.
Yeah. Wow.
So it gets its story told, and it ends. I thought it was pretty entertaining. It was about this guy who was a magician named Lorenzo Manzini, and when he was a kid, he witnessed his father die performing a magic trick. He was performing this magic trick on stage, and he had his assistant slash best friend shoot at him with a gun through a pane of glass, and I guess he was going to catch the bullet with his teeth, but it didn't work. And so he watched.
Imagine that.
So he actually watched his father die on stage,
Wow.
and the friend was sent to prison for it.
Oh, wow.
And now he's this grown man, and he's getting into being a magician, and it's him and his he has an assistant that he kind of is in love with named Antonia. And the night before he's supposed to go out and do his first show on the stage, modeled after a magic trick, they find a woman murdered. And of course, the police call him in, and they want to talk to him and find out if he knows her or what's going on. He doesn't have any idea. And as the film progresses, more people start to get murdered, murdered and modeled after the style of magic tricks that his father performed in the past.
Oh, wow.
And he becomes kind of the prime suspect, and also because some of these people he interacts with, and then they end up getting murdered. And yeah, I thought it was pretty good. And like, what was interesting to me was that it's not dubbed in English, and they don't have an option to watch it in English. It's in Italian, but even so, because Giallo's had that quality of like the people speaking in different languages all at the same time, so the dub would be off or weird. You're sitting there, and I was sitting there watching it, and I was like, wait, the dub's off. Like, their voices aren't quite matching when they're talking.
Wow.
And I was like, that's pretty smart to do that even now. But even though they're speaking in Italian, they still did it. And I was like, that's pretty cool.
That's cool.
They hit all the right beats, and I thought that they it even has the quality of a traditional giallo, and that there's a little bit of a twist at the end. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good time. So it's on Prime. It's worth checking out. It's definitely worth checking out. And I'm probably gonna check out the other two films they made, because if you like giallos, it's definitely in that wheelhouse. It's definitely.
Dude, I'll watch this and the other two before the next episode. We'll even if just you and I do like a small roundup on these. I'm really interested. Sure. I've never even heard of this before, so I'm really interested.
And I was watching something else, and it popped up at the bottom. I can't remember what the other thing I was watching, but it was just one of those suggestions that came up from a movie that I had seen before and I liked, or after I just finished watching something and I was like, oh, what's that? And then I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, this looks like a 70s movie. And then I found out it was made more recently, and I was like, wow, this is perfect. It's so right in that genre. Like, I mean, the trailer, like the camera work and stuff, like it's just so 70s. It's very impressive the way that they made this film to look like it was made in the 70s. Reminds me a little bit of In Fabric, if you saw that.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. So the next movie I talk about is similar. I just
Ooh.
wanted to mention there is a movie coming out I've been waiting for, and you just reminded me. I had to check. I still don't think it's out yet, but it's got to be soon. It's screened at some festivals. It is called The Last Matinee, and it's also known as, I believe, like The Red Screening or something like that. And it's yeah, Red Screening. It sounds really, really cool. It's a giallo. It takes place in a movie theater, so it kind of has like a demons vibe, although I don't think it's,
Nice.
demons or whatever, but it's something about like at this screening, like they get locked in and then like somebody's slowly picking people off or whatever. It sounded really, really cool. And it has a
That's
similar
cool.
look from what I've seen. So it looks like we're getting like a lot of Neo Giallos lately, and that's pretty fucking cool, man. I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Knife and Heart is still, I mean,
Oh,
it's
man.
my favorite
That's a
movie
great
that year,
film.
and it still is one of my favorite movies of the last, I don't know how, period. So that definitely gave me a taste for people that do things that way, where they have that like 70s or 80s aesthetic and just really adhere to it.
A pandemic of violence floods the streets of major cities as cases of the media-dubbed murder virus, MV20, soar, causing those infected to go on killing sprees. Caught in the middle, police detective Angela Miller finds her only trustworthy ally in the self-proclaimed psychic PI, Gerald Henry. As the two try to navigate the violence, they are drawn into New Age guru Abramelin Harvest's plot to heal the planet. Harvest's missive:
the world is sick, and humanity is the infection.
The cure: murder. From the twisted mind of Shawn C. Baker, author of A Collection of Desires and Shadow Play in Book 1, Kim and Jesse, comes his most vicious novel yet, Murder Virus. Available where books are sold.
The next movie, this is the movie where when I watched it, I was like, the gravitas of this, I felt like wow, this is a contender for like the best of the year. And I had been waiting for this. So this is a debut. This is a movie called Censor. The director is a woman named Prano Bailey Bond. She wrote this with Anthony Fletcher, and it stars Niv Algar, who people will know from as Sue from Raised by Wolves. And then also Michael Smiley, who I in the last year, he's become like an immediate, I just absolutely, if he's in it, I'm pretty much guaranteed I'm going to love it. Sofia La Puerta, and I'm gonna mispronounce this because I keep wanting to say it's Giamo, but it's not. It's Giame Delani, who plays this beast man. He's very distinctive looking. But dude, this movie, Censor, takes place once again in the 80s, and it's the era of the video nasties. And so Niamh Algar plays Enid, who is this kind of uptight woman in Britain. Video nasties were in Britain. For people that don't know, there were movies that came out here at in like Nightmare, Evil Dead, probably being one of the most famous ones, a bunch of other stuff, Maniac. They weren't cut as heavily here. Over in England, they were known as video nasties, and they were heavily cut. And so there was a board that would watch these movies before they were released and then take notes and then talk to filmmakers or producers or distributors and be like, oh, okay, so the eye gouging is a little bit too real, so you're going to need to cut some of that. maybe a little bit less of the breasts. Maybe the blood's probably okay because it's the wrong color, so it's stuff like that. And they would basically guide people on how to get distributed in the UK and not be, it wasn't that they were going to get an X, they weren't going to be released. And what actually in the movie addresses at one point, what ended up happening is you had people who had black market bootlegs of this shit. And like in the movie, there's a video store and somebody goes in and they're like, oh, do you have, this? And the guy's got it under the counter and he's kind of like, he's worried about literally that this is a sting, like as if he's selling drugs. And he's like, because they're shutting down video stores and blah, blah, blah. So it's like a big deal, which is just, it's one of those things. It's like when you look back at all the moms that screamed about Ozzy Osbourne, satanic lyrics. And now it's just like, you look back and you're like, don't you all just feel like fools? Like, I mean, really, this is where you plant your flag. This is your battle, whatever. So Enid is on this committee of censors, and she and a co-worker passed Depraved, an actual movie. And there is a scene in Depraved where a man eats his somebody's face, and I've actually never seen Depraved, but they reference this. And then there's an actual crime, which I believe actually occurred, made headlines, where somebody ate his wife. He killed his wife and ate her face. And so they're saying, like, the authorities want to know who passed this movie, who said this was okay to play, and it comes back to them. So they get in a little bit of trouble, and then Michael Smiley rolls in. He's this like exploitation distributor, and he's got a new movie, and he specifically asked Enid, her boss, like, I asked your boss if you could be one of the people to see this. I really think that you would, I'd like to hear your opinion. And the thing is, you start to learn that something happened to Enid when she was a girl, and it's why she is the way she is. And this movie, Don't Go into Church, seems to draw on what happened to her. So now she's like trying to ask questions and insinuate herself into the producer and distributor's lives, and then turns out they're making a sequel, and she starts to snoop around that. And it's really, it's just so good. All the performances are great. It's very simple, but I will tell you, it is so artistic. It reminds me of a kind of a combination. There's some Lynch elements. It reminded me a little bit of that movie Cam from a couple of years ago that also reminded me of Lynch.
It was Cam the one where the girl is the cam girl, and
yes,
they start being the other entity that's doing her cam shows.
Like she's locked out because there's another version of her doing it. Yeah. So we keep ending up talking about lighting lately, and this movie has the best. It's artistically, like with the Conjuring last episode, we were talking about how it was just functionally really great lighting. This movie, the lighting is artistically some of the best I've ever seen. A lot of colors. It has that early 80s aesthetic. There's a sleaze element, but there's also a fantastical element. It's just absolutely gorgeous. The lighting kind of portrays like that element of danger that was in a lot of music and movies back in that era when people were trying to heavily censor things and worried about Satan and blah blah blah. And it really conveys that and kind of takes you to a different place. And it's fantastic. It's a $5 or $6.99 rental on Prime right now. 100% worth it. Absolutely loved it.
I have to check that out.
You'll dig it. I guarantee. I can't wait to talk to you about it because you'll. I feel like it will incite the same kind of passion in you that it did in me. I just thought it was so good.
It sounds like it. I mean, I go in for the good stuff. I like all kinds. I like all kinds.
Yeah, no, I know. I know.
Impress that upon people. Like, I like the sleaze, and then I like the good stuff too.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
I don't want to become one of those people that they make the meme about, where it's like, let's watch Sleepaway. What is it, like the guy who's like, oh well, the reason that It Follows is such a great film is because of this reason, and like the guy below him's like, let's watch Sleepaway Camp 3 again. I'm right there in the middle.
Dude, that's what I said. Like, somebody posted that recently somewhere. And was it, I think it was in our, so
It might
for
have been on our
listeners,
group, yeah.
yeah, we have a horror vision, horror,
On
discussion
Facebook,
Facebook
yeah.
group. So, anybody out there who wants to talk horror, come on over and join. But, I'm both. I'm totally both. I'm
Yeah.
that like cunt that's gonna like have a snifter of $15 beer and watch something, heady and artistic and just want to talk about it all night. And I'm also the guy that's like, let's watch Sleepaway Camp 3 again. Like,
Yeah,
that's
exactly. Exactly.
that's a sentence I've uttered in the last year. So, there you
Exactly.
go.
Yeah. I'll do an evening in front of, I'll sit there with somebody, and if they're like, hey, I haven't had anybody who's done this, but if you brought up where like, hey, let's watch Saint Maud and then let's watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, I'd be like, okay, I like both
Dude,
those.
fucking,
I like both those.
let's do that. Let's definitely do that, because I
Just
need another
absurd.
viewing. I need another viewing on Saint Maud, and TCM 3 is just always fantastic, just because all the goddamn shouting and chains. Get her leather, bring it all down. I mean, it's just, it's so joyous.
It's such a fantastic film.
Really is.
Oh
It
my
really is.
goodness. So I watched the Etheria Film Festival that hit Shudder. It was good. I mean, I know what you're going to bring up, and I agree.
I'm not. Well, we
Um,
could talk about it, but I'm not going to bring it up.
Well,
We can
okay.
talk about
I'm
it.
just gonna. I'll lightly say this. I don't understand why they had a host this year, because before they didn't, and I don't think they need to have one again in the future.
And definitely not her.
Seems kind of pointless.
Definitely
I mean, it's
not
not
her.
like a Joe Bob situation where they're dropping in and giving you like little interesting tidbits for every single one. So I don't understand the point of that.
I'm
but the
sorry.
films-
If I had a movie in that, which I wouldn't because I'm not a woman, but I would have been so pissed off, because the thing was like, I couldn't believe she said, she's like, oh, we're so excited to talk about these 9 movies. We're gonna, blah blah blah. We found these 9 movies; they're great. And then distribution failed, and we couldn't get those, so we're bringing you these movies instead.
I was like,
And
whoa.
I know it was supposed to be a joke, but it was so
it's-
fucking disrespectful and like, you know what? Hey, I'm sorry. I'm being harsh.
It was.
Because you know what?
I think it was the tone. Like there
We've
was
all
just
been
something
cooped
about
up
the
for a
way she
year.
said
Maybe
it.
she
Like,
just doesn't know how to talk to people anymore. Or
yeah,
I don't know.
I imagine that if she had done it in front of a crowd, like if that had been recorded in front of a crowd, like she would have said that, waited a beat, and then been like, so then now we're going to show you these films, and then there would have been another beat, and the crowd would have been like, ah ha 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 ha.
I don't think that would have went over live even. I think that was just really. I think it was just a mistake. Whatever. I mean, so you watched the films. I only got that far, and then I was like, I'll get back to this.
Oh, really?
The wrong tone. Yeah, she set the wrong tone.
I thought they were pretty good. There was a couple of them that were legitimately like, there was a few that I was like, okay, this works as a short film. That's fine. I can see the talent, but I don't think this story could be expanded. But there was a couple there where I was like, ooh, you could expand that more. There was I'm trying to remember all of them. There was a really good one involving.
Let me give you the names. Let me give you the
Okay.
names. You tell me what you like. So there's one.
All
There's
right.
Misfits.
Misfits. Misfits, I'm torn on. Misfits, I would give an 8 or 9 for drama, but
Mhm.
it wasn't genre at all. It was a dramatic piece. It's a
then
good dramatic piece, but it is a dramatic piece.
There's The Fourth Wall.
The Fourth Wall, I'd say it's probably like a 6.
Okay.
It was good. I don't know you could expand that story. It was good as a short form.
Polvatron 500.
You could go into that story more. I honestly, to me, that was one of the ones that I thought was a little bit too short for my taste.
Okay.
You could have gone into that whole background of that, yeah.
You
Maybe
Will
like
Never
a
Be
7.
Back.
That one was really good, but that felt good as a short form again. Like it felt like it's like a really clever, like a like almost like a Twilight Zone.
Okay.
Good
Oh, that's
though,
cool.
but it's clever.
Bootstrapped.
Bootstrap. Trying to remember.
It's the one I remember seeing an image in the trailer. There's a woman in a like she's got like a white shirt and a tie. Looked like she was hiding.
Oh, that one was cute. It was fun. I mean, some of them are more comedic than anything else. It was
Okay,
just a
okay.
cute little fun one. You know, it's a 6, 5,
Okay.
5, 6.
The Gray.
Is the Gray? If that's the one where the girl is walking on a path, the Gray. Oh, that one. That's about a 5 or 6 too. It's
Okay.
another fun one. It's a cute one. I mean, it could be expanded. That's one of those ideas that you could honestly expand into a comedic TV series. Honestly.
Okay. Eye Exam.
Eye Exam was a cool one. It was too short for me, and it could have been at least a half hour or like a Outer Limits Twilight Zone episode. I thought it was interesting concept. I thought it was fun, but it's really short.
Okay. I mean, that's the point with all of these. So hopefully they will get.
Yeah, that's
know.
true. But I mean, it did show talent. It showed
Yeah.
potential.
I mean,
talent.
don't hold it against. I mean, I don't think you are, but I mean, just.
Oh no,
so
I'm not holding it against it. I'm saying
we
that
clarify
like, whoever
for
is out there.
So we clarify for our listeners, like, you know, I feel like it sounds a little bit like you are, but I know you and I know you're not. So just so people know, who goes
In fact,
there?
if you're listening and you wrote it and you made that for Etheria, I'd like you to see something make something longer, or even make a feature length film, because I think honestly the concept that's in there could turn into a feature.
And that was Eye Exam.
Yeah, that's a neat one because it's set in the 50s, and it has such a like Invaders from Mars kitschiness to it that I enjoyed.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very kitschy. I feel I would definitely sit down and watch that.
Who goes there?
That was fantastic. That
Okay.
could be a feature length film. It was great. It was legit horror. It was an interesting concept. Plus, it was horror set in the Old West, which
is
so
always
rarely
cool.
is made. Yeah.
Wow. So this is a UK film. This is directed by Astrid Thorvaldsen. It's 23 minutes long. It's classed as a horror western. Says when a stranger appears on their prairie in 1880 Minnesota, Ingrid invites him to heal her dying sister. She doesn't realize a supernatural force is crossing her threshold. Sounds good.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it. Very subtle, very well done.
Nice. Okay. And then I believe the last one was Narrow.
If it's the one it's got to be, because we haven't talked about that.
Oh, it's
one.
The
That one
Path.
again,
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
liked. The Path we went. That one was so cool. That was such a great idea. I'd love to see that turn into a feature-length film.
So this is directed by Anna Chazali. It's 10 minutes long, sci-fi horror from the USA, and it says, in a post-apocalyptic world where survival means never stepping off a thin, narrow path, a lone woman must evade a creature that stalks her every move. That sounds great.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Plus,
Wow.
it was so simple in its concept, but so clear in what it was getting across. I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic.
Okay, I gotta say, so now I'm looking at the description of Pulvatron 500. It sounds hysterical because, okay, directed by Sylvia Canase, 11 minutes long, sci-fi from Spain. Here's in the year 2065, which isn't that far off. A man enters an old holographic sex booth intending to take a nap, but accidentally activates the sex hologram. I think activates the sex hologram is going to be the next album that I make.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Activate the sex hologram.
It's just great. It's cool. I do really want to watch this. I know it's only I don't remember how long it is on Shudder. It's limited though. And I know I missed
think it's
it
until like late July.
Okay, that sounds right. So
when you pull it up and start watching it, it tells you the dates too. I feel like.
Yeah, I really, oh, it says, it is here. Damn it. July, might be 25th. It's either 15th or 25th. I'm looking at it on my phone. And it's super small. And when you click on it, it opens, the date goes away. So whatever. Yeah, good. Wow. Okay. I must watch this year. I was very sad that I missed last year. Speaking of Shudder, the third movie in my 2021 halfway through Holy Three, dude, Damian McCarthy's Caveat. I'm speechless. This movie, I've never seen a movie like this in the best possible way. This fucking movie is nuts. It's kind of another entry into that quiet Irish British horror thing that I have, this weird genre I've talked about before that pretty much only exists in my head. Well, I mean, not only in my head, because there are movies, but like I think I'm the only one connecting the dots on this. But so this is a feature debut by Damian McCarthy. It stars Jonathan French as Isaac, Ben Kaplan as Barrett, and Leela, I think it's Sykes as Olga. It's filmed in County Cork. It is, dude, okay, here's the setup. And there's no spoiler here. Guy gets out of a hospital after an accident. His memory's kind of fucked up. And his friend that like comes to get him, he doesn't really remember this guy, but he's like, they're talking. He's like, well, I know you need money and I need a favor. My brother's dead. He passed away. His daughter, she's an adult, but she's got mental problems. And she's at his house. And I can't leave her alone there. And I don't want to go. So I have something I got to do. So I'm going to be gone for like 5 days. I need you to go there, stay there, and I'll pay you 200 euro a night. And you don't have to do anything. Just be there, just so you're there. And he's like, okay, what's the catch? No catch. I mean, she's got mental issues, but she's, it's nothing terrible or whatever. It's like, okay. So they go and the first thing that happens is they're like at the water's edge, and he's like, where's the house? He's like, it's over there. He's like, get a boat. He's like, wait a minute, it's on an island? He's like, yeah. He's like, you didn't say that. He's like, yeah, I did. He's like, no, you didn't. He's like, I said it was secluded. It's like, well, there's a difference between being on an island surrounded by water and being secluded. I can't swim. It's like, look, come on, blah, blah, so he goes. They go there. So then next they get there and he pulls out this fucking leather vest that has a chain attached to the back of it that runs like off into the distance. And eventually you see like down into the basement and it's like anchored in cement. And he's like, the fuck is that? He's like, well, I need you to put it on. He's like, what? It's like, yeah. Well, he's like, she's going to be a little bit worried because you're here and she doesn't know you. So this just prevents you from going into her room. You can go pretty much anywhere else. Just this won't let you go into the room. He's like, I'm not putting that on. It's a leash. No way. He's like, I don't understand what the problem is. Like every job is a uniform. This job's uniform. He's like, look, no. And the one thing about this movie, I'll say, I do not believe for a second that anybody would put this on. So that's the one thing where it's not an issue though. I happily suspend that disbelief because I love everything that happens after he puts it on. The brother leaves. The girl is like catatonic. So he's like, see, she's not even, probably just sit like that for 5 minutes. It'll be fine. Dude. There is, oh my God. I mean, I don't really want to go into anything else, but like this movie, oh my God, it builds such suspense. The house is just this like hovel. And it's funny, it's filmed at this place, I think it's called Hanley House, which is when you look it up, it is regal and amazing. So I'm not sure. And they must have done like some of the exteriors, like there's like a backdoor garden shot that like really minimizes what you're looking at. Because it just looks like a hovel. And inside is just dilapidated. I mean, it's just whatever. But dude, so there's this prop in it. It's this rabbit. And it's like, my friend Missy thought it was, she's like, oh, is it claymation? When she saw the trailer, I'm like, no, it's like a prop. It's one of these like motorized, like old school toys where it like has a drum and it'll occasionally move its arms with the drumsticks and bop, 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 bop. But the eyes on this thing, they look like, I don't even know how to explain it. It looks like something out of an evil fucking cartoon, or not cartoon, but like fairy tale. And it just will start drumming at times. And you, just like the people in the movie, are like, why is it doing that? Like, it's not wound up.
Yeah.
There's no batteries. Oh, it's so fucking creepy. It's like, as it apples and oranges, but as creepy as the Annabelle doll wants to be, it kind of overdoes it. And so it's like too much. And the apples and oranges is not the same kind of prop, not the same kind of doll, not the same kind of story, but still, like, it's just so simple and oh my God, I just absolutely, I loved it. I love this fucking movie. I can't wait to see what else this director does. And man, it's on Shudder. I just think everybody should watch it. It might not be your cup of tea. No, I mean, I think you'll dig it. I just mean in general to listeners, it's slow. I saw some reviews that are like, it starts promising and just meanders all over the fucking place. I didn't think so. It's definitely, it meanders, but dude, in a good way. And it just, oh God, it goes places. So there, I mean, wow. So those are the three. I'm betting those are in my top 5 of the year. And that's Censor, that's Caveat, and Vicious Fun. So,
well, more than likely, I would imagine that probably is something that maybe one of the filmmakers saw, or that ran into in a antique shop or something. Like, there's stuff out there that was made in the past that's super creepy. Like,
you have a doll in your house. So your mom has a porcelain doll. I have a picture of it on my horror amino profile, because it is
really
fucking freaky as fuck. Oh my God, dude. I like,
this is the one with the
walked into
teeth.
your old house and saw it. I was like, what the fuck is that?
I think she has an old one with teeth. Yeah.
And I don't know if it has teeth or not, but dude, it is so goddamn creepy. So yeah,
I mean,
there's
I've legit seen old dolls that have teeth. If you've ever seen, like, take a look at the picture, and like, or maybe when you even like, you can even put it on the Horror Vision website. Like, if you can find it, there's these. If you can find the old pictures of like kids posing with like Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse
I
from
know what
like
you're
the
talking.
40s
Yeah, it's
or
creepy.
50s, they're just terrifying. You're like, oh my God, why did they think that was cute? It's terrifying.
Oh,
Yep. I know the one you're talking about. Yep. The clown doll.
Oh. It was sitting right. You'd walk in your old front door,
Yeah,
and
it's
be to
just
the
sitting
left.
there.
I remember the first time I saw it, I was, what the fuck? Oh,
Yeah, there's stuff like that will creep people out. So it probably was just something that somebody found and was like, we got to put that in a fucking movie. That thing creeps me out.
yeah.
But
Oh man. No,
would
I
you
believe it was
say
made.
it's like a House of the Devil kind of in the way of a slow burn?
No, because
or like what's that one called?
The pacing maybe, but it's all slow, but there's also this mystery. The way that the pacing is slow, but the things that happen in the order they happen in, it's like you're just watching it like, where is this? Like, they add an element and then it becomes like, where is this going? And then they add another element.
Yeah.
And near the end, there's some shit where I was like, wait, did I just see that? What the fuck? It's fantastic. It's so
Interesting.
good. Yeah, I loved it. So
Nice.
What else you got?
Well, we probably should finish soon.
Yes.
But bearing on that, what I'll do is I'll say this, because I rewatched one thing and I wanted to talk about it, but there's a couple other things, and I'll just group it all together. There was a short film that we talked about before from that Joe Bob that we went to in October called one of the short films is this comedic one called The Devil's Asshole.
Yeah.
It's on Arrow. I rewatched it.
Oh, nice.
So if anyone wants to see that film, and hear us talking about it, it's really funny. It's a great little short film, and it's on Arrow. basically it's pretty simple. This girl is making a chili for this chili contest, and I forget how she does it, but somehow like she she summons a demon out of the chili,
Yeah.
and the demon comes out of the chili, and it's like this chili head with jalapenos for eyes, and it tells her about how it's going to come and terrify the world and by burning people's assholes. And you're like, what? And it's just, I think what she does, she accidentally adds too much hot pepper or something, and it's
Something, yeah. There's like some combination of peppers.
Yeah, but it's a funny little film, and it's on Arrow. In addition to that, like there's some stuff that has hit Arrow, has hit Shutter recently. That's like, oh my god, that's on there now. Like they put on 13 Ghosts
Yeah.
the other day. So previously, unless you wanted to rent it, the only place that I knew of where you could stream it was Tubi, but you had to watch through all these goofy ass commercials. Like you're suddenly watching, a terrifying ghost, and then all of a sudden it cuts to a commercial about a trivia or something like that.
Yeah, right.
And this way you get to watch it without all that goofy nonsense. They put the original Creep Show on Shudder,
Saw that.
which is worth a rewatch. And finally, I think for the first time on any of the streaming services I've ever seen, Near Dark,
Yeah.
Catherine Bigelow, fantastic vampire movie, is on Shudder. I have a beef with whoever released it. I think it was Fox back in the early 2000s, because when they released it again, they put it out in this Blu-ray. I think they put it out in Blu-ray and DVD. But they did this thing where they took the two main characters and they like, there's no other way to put it, they Twilightified them. So like they gave him like pale skin and he sparkled, and I was
Are
like,
you
what
serious?
the fuck is that? Yeah, they had the worst cover art on the film, which
Wait,
is not that
so
film
that's
at
just the
all.
cover. They didn't affect
Yeah.
the actual movie.
No.
Oh
They
god,
just
I was
did
like,
the cover.
what?
But the cover was such a betrayal, and I felt like if you were a younger person and not ever heard of Near Dark, or just had never heard of the horror film Near Dark, that was not going to attract you to watch the film. So if you heard of the film and you were like dubious because you saw that cover, forget about that. Check it out. It's a fantastic film.
Essential
It is
viewing,
a
in my
horror. It is a horror Western vampire movie, and it's fucking great.
But it's not a Western in the sense of, like, just so people know, like cowboys and stuff like that. But it takes place in the West,
it's
and
more of a
it's
Western.
nomadic.
Yes, and I think it takes place in New Mexico and Texas, if I remember correctly.
It sounds
Which,
right.
To have traditional like burn in the sunlight vampires living in that area is part of the element of the film.
Yeah.
And Bill Paxton is fantastic.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he is
one of the best vampires on screen you'll ever see. And like there's a scene that the shot of him in this one scene has become the iconic image for the film. And besides Bill Paxton, I mean, you've got I'm totally blanking on their names. You've got Lance Hendrickson, and you've got some other people that I think Jenny Wright, Adrian Ashtar, and I forget the name of the other female vampire that's in the film. But the story in the film a little bit is that when Catherine Bigelow was making the film, she was at the time, I believe she was married to
Cameron.
Cameron, and Cameron was making Aliens, and she wanted to make this film, and she talked to Cameron about it, and she was helping him on the set of Aliens, I think as like his assistant director or something, and she talked to the people who were making Aliens with him and these great actors, and they were like, oh, that sounds like fun. I'd totally like to do that. And so pretty much after they completed Aliens, they went off and made this movie.
Yeah.
And it's a totally underrated gem. It is fantastic.
Really is. It really,
and it really shows the talent.
Is the woman you were trying to think of.
Thank you.
Because she's Vasquez in Aliens.
An Alien, yeah. And she looks so different in this.
Yeah.
She's so tough and butch in Alien, and then you see her in this one, and she's like feminine. And But it really shows a great director at the start of her career, and
Yeah.
it's a fantastic movie. It's so worth a watch, and it's very. I forgot about how atmospheric and moody it was until I rewatched it a while back, and I was like, man, this movie's got great atmosphere to it too.
You know, and
Plus,
it'll probably
Creepy
ahead.
kid vampire. Creepy kid
the
vampire.
creepiest, dude. And it's probably only going to be on Shudder for the month, because it seems like they land some of these, maybe not, but some of these, it'll be on there for a month and it's gone. So watch.
Well, I feel like somebody is gonna. I heard that. I think Anthony, who's missing today, was telling me that it's going to be re-released on DVD or Blu-ray at some point.
Yeah, he mentioned it to me too.
So that's probably part of it. Which reminds me also, if you're of the horror mindset and you're out there, Synapse is going to be releasing their special edition of what's it called? Of Demons 1 and 2 is a box set.
Oh, really?
So watch.
I thought you were talking about Damone, the biography of Damone from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Dream Police. No, I'll have to look into that. I need those on Blu-ray. So
those are I need to get it too. Next paycheck, I'm ordering that shit because
I have DVDs.
It's on the website.
I'll look at that. Okay, so I got
those films.
I got one more, and then we should wrap. But this one I just fit in last night. It just dropped yesterday. Part 2 drops. So this is Netflix, and this is Fear Street. So part 1, 1994, dropped yesterday. Part 2, I think it's 1978, drops next Friday, and part 3, 1666, drops the 16th. They're doing, I don't know if this could have been a series and they decided to recut it to be like these 3 features, whatever, but I know nothing about R.L. Stine. I'm not casting aspersions. I was too old for Goosebumps or for Fear Street. I don't know if this was a book or a show. I thought it was a book. I heard somebody say earlier it was a show, whatever.
I think it was both.
So it's based on that. So they were young adult or independent reader, which is like 10-year-old, 12-year-old, whatever.
Yeah.
Again, it's just I was older then, so I missed this stuff. So I didn't know if I dig it or not. And dude, I was floored. It's great fun. I mean, it doesn't have the caliber of what the other 3 movies I talked about, but it's very fun. I'm definitely down to watch the other 3 over the next 2 Fridays. And basically, so this is directed by Lee Janiak, who also directed a movie called Honeymoon from 2014. I've read something about that. I don't remember. I read so much about movies, I have no idea. It's based on R.L. Stine's book, and then Kyle Killen, who also wrote for the TV show Awaken, he was a writer on The Beaver. He adapted it. Huge cast, notably Maya Hawke, who's in that 3rd season of Stranger Things.
Oh, okay.
It's basically, so it's 1994, and if you're our age, I remember 94, I was a senior in high school. It is a nostalgia bomb. I mean, almost to the point after a while of obnoxiousness, where it's just every song you can fucking think of from 1994 is in this fucking movie, which is cool. I mean, Netflix overdoes it a little bit. Like they'll have like a song in a scene, and then you'll get like 10 seconds of the song and another song will supersede it. So it's like, but it's garbage. White Zombie, 9 Inch Nails, Sophie B. Hawkins. It's an endless parade of all this music. And then it starts in a mall. You'll recognize the stores in the mall. You'll recognize what people are wearing. Maybe this fashion will come back and get rid of this, how Stranger Things kind of brought back those like weird, like the acid wash and the high-waisted denim, which is just like, sorry kids.
Did it really?
And the tight roll and the we went through this shit, so you don't have to. So don't do that shit. It doesn't look good. Maybe this will supplant that. I don't know. Fashion was better in 94, I guess. But it's so much fun. It's not the same kind of fun as Vicious Fun, but also like I was fucking surprised at the severity and the body count that this movie has. Nobody's safe, and they kill teenagers. In some cases, there's one death. I was like, they're not going to do that, and they did it. And I was like, that is class A grisly. I couldn't believe it. And it's just the basic setup is like this town called Shadyside. It's got a counterpart. I forget what it's called. Like, I don't know, Sunnyvale. I think it's Sunnyvale. And it's like all the rich people live in Sunnyvale, and everybody else lives in Shadyside. And Shadyside also has the distinction of in 1666, this woman's I think it's Sarah Fear was hung as a witch, and she cursed the town. And so there have been murders that happen every so often. And the working theory is that this woman possesses people every, so many years and goes on these killing sprees. And we're kind of caught in the middle of that with these characters. And it's fucking brutal. So I dug it. Yeah, I dug it. I got to say, like,
check it out.
If you're like me, I'm 45. Like I said, I have no attachment to these as books or nostalgia, but for the property. But yeah, I dug it. I thought it was pretty cool. And I will watch the next one. So
nice.
There you go.
I'll check that out.
So, all right, should we wrap it?
Yeah, I think we got it.
All right, I'm coming over. I'm bringing hot dogs and beer.
All right, I'll be ready.
The people at home can interpret that however they'd like, and we will be back. We'll be back soon with another episode. But for now, for the Horror Vision Horror Podcast, I'm Shawn.
I'm Ray.
All right, man.
Go
See you
watch
soon.
some horror. Bye.